Hello everybody, Sunday the 15th of June 2014, day 4 of the World Cup. And of course, it's all about the big game last night. Ivory Coast overcame Japan. What? It was a good game. Okay, the other big game last night, where a spirited England side fell to a more clinical Azzurri. It was written in the stars at half-time, I guess, when BBC pundit Rio Ferdinand compared Mario Balotelli to Emil Heskey. The result served as an unwelcome reminder that losing your first match makes the rest of the Cup as agonising as waiting for your STD test results. But neither of those is as agonising as 90 minutes of Phil Neville's commentary. England never really seemed to recover from losing their physio Gary Lewin in the melee of their goal celebration. Neville warned us from his own experience, anything can happen when everyone jumps on top of each other. Elsewhere, victorious Colombian players reacted well when they were told the news that the BBC's red button allows you to switch commentary. Other big celebrations last night included the president of Costa Rica, as his side provided the shock of the tournament so far. Impressive, but you should have seen Ed Miliband after Daniel Sturridge's goal. Absolutely mental. England completed 91% of their passes last night, the highest percentage they've recorded in a World Cup since 1966. Italy's 93.2 pass percent accuracy was the highest recorded in the competition, again since 1966. And Andrea Pirlo's 108 passes against England is the highest in the tournament so far. England's defeat was their first in a World Cup opener since 1986. Delighted to have comedian Andy Zaltzman in the house, everybody. Hi Andy, how you doing? Good. Strange start for England in some respects, because we played such attacking football, but then par for the course really insofar as it was a typically underwhelming result.
Yes, but I don't know, it's the most I've enjoyed an England game for absolutely years, and it was bizarre, as you say. That usually in a major tournament we play as if we're trying to destroy the entire concept of hope. Often in a major tournament, an England player will get a ball at their foot and look at it as if it is some kind of alien being that they just want to get rid of in any direction. But they were passing it around, they were dribbling it, and actually trying to score goals. I don't know what has happened. It feels. I mean, I don't even know what it is to be English anymore. That was not what we're supposed to do in a major tournament, apart from the... In fact, we're not even supposed to lose. We always draw the opening game.
I know, it stands
I have
to
a
reason.
stat for you.
Go for it.
Now, because almost every... I think 8 out of 10 of the previous opening games in major tournaments, we've scored first and conceded an equaliser. This was the first equaliser we've scored since 1962, the last time we played in a World Cup in South America, when we also lost that game 2-1. So there's a stat for you.
Bringing the big stat straight away.
Bringing
Love that.
The stat.
Oh, the other thing as well, I guess, is that the media reaction has been quite restrained as well. Everyone is quite supportive of. There's no horrendous backlash. I
think there must be a lot of disappointed journalists who've got their had their thesauruses ready on the words pointless and awful, and actually they couldn't really complain too much. It was. Although I do think Raheem Sterling's got away easily, because that chance he had in the first couple of minutes, when you get in that position at that level, when you've skipped past a defender and you're 35 yards out from goal, you simply have to score.
Shocking.
You simply have to score.
It really was. Pirlo is a player you admire immensely. And,
I love Pirlo. He plays very much like me. Pirlo.
Really? Yeah, I've heard that.
I believe he wrote in his recent autobiography that I was a very big influence on his...
That was the Zaltzman he was referring to.
So he was, although he lost Sterling for the goal. So I mean, that's had he been English, they'd have been all over him for that and ignored the silken majesty of the rest of his play.
Now, Uruguay-Costa Rica, of course, the other game in the group. Costa Rica looked sensational. The good news, I guess, for English fans is the rather predictable red card for Uruguay.
Well, it's great to see. I was, grew up in the 80s. Whenever Uruguay played, red card. Guaranteed. That famous game with Scotland in 1986, red card within a minute. Yes. And I believe they were officially renamed at the United Nations the Independent Republic of 10-Man Uruguay. So that's what it's been a great World Cup so far. You want to see goals, you want to see exciting football, you want to see horrific refereeing decisions, and you want to see Uruguay and red cards. There is nothing more you can ask for.
That's all you want. Yeah. All right, let's look at tonight's games in a bit more detail. Group E coming into focus, of course, which means Argentina so good that they can afford to leave Carlos Tevez behind.
Yes, I guess he does. I've never met Carlos Tevez, and maybe he's absolutely charming in person. But he does seem to be the kind of guy who might rile some people, rub them up the wrong way. So I guess in terms of squad harmony,
That was the grounds for that decision.
But he's I mean, you want players, and also he's a definite potential red card candidate. You think?
Very good point. A very good point.
World Cup.
They're up against Bosnia, of course. They're coming into view, and they're an intriguing story, of course. Their place in their first World Cup finals.
Yes, and obviously a lot of the countries that were members of the former Yugoslavia have graced football's major stages in recent years. I mean, if you put them all together under one banner and made them play as one team, they would be sensational. I don't know why no one has. Why they never tried that? Sure, that's got to be worth a go, isn't it? Do
you fancy them for this tournament? It's a dark. You've had a few dark horses we were chatting about.
No, I don't.
You don't think they'll get out of the group? You think?
Yes, there's definite. It's an escapable group, and they've clearly got some good players. I'm looking forward to seeing Miralem Pjanic of Roma, who I've not really seen. I've read in an article that he's very good, but also he's got the kind of name that I hope English commentators will mispronounce as Panic, which is always one of the great privileges of being a football commentator.
France, Honduras tonight as well. Looking forward to seeing Honduras. Who's your favourite minnow in the tournament, would you say?
Yeah, I'd like Honduras. I think they have. It's Carlo Costly is Honduras, isn't he?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, our dad is the greatest name in the tournament. He's basically a one-man satirisation of the values of modern football. Also, the nickname that Abramovich has for Fernando Torres at Chelsea.
Okay. Right, let's look at tonight's lineups in a bit more depth. And this is where you can play your 3 cards. Of course, you've got a head-to-head card where you can pick up a tactical battle, either literal or metaphorically, a breakout star. Which player do you think we're going to be talking about a lot during after the tournament? And then the unsung hero, a player that you don't think gets enough props. So we'll start the games in chronological order, and Switzerland-Ecuador is the first game tonight. The Swiss look pretty impressive in qualification, so impressive in fact they didn't actually lose.
Yes.
But do you think they're being slightly overhyped?
Well, I can only remember Switzerland from the last World Cup when they played the most hideously negative football. They made England look like 1970 Brazil in the last World Cup. They deserve to lose every single match, not on the basis of what team they have now, where apparently they've got some very good, exciting young players, but because of what they did to football 4 years ago and in many previous tournaments. So I'm hoping that they deserve to be banned. Watching their football last time was like watching an ice age. Switzerland are to exciting football what Margaret Thatcher is to mixed martial arts, in that they have no link, but you would quite like to see them have a go at it.
Okay, they're playing Ecuador for the first time, by the way, in their international history, and that's where your first card is coming from, that game, your unsung hero.
Unsung hero, Edison Mendes. Now, he's probably not unsung in Ecuador, 110 caps, attacking midfielder. He's played at the very highest level for 14 years, and I mean that literally, because Ecuador do play at about 3,000 metres above sea level. But he's unsung in this country. I've been to music gigs in researching for this show every night for the last 3 months, and no one has sung an Edison Mendes song. So
disappointing.
He is literally an unsung hero.
Okay, good. Next up, France, Honduras. And France, you think, represent the best value in terms of winning the tournament overall?
Yeah, I do. They were 25-1, I think, when I looked the other day. Generally at a major tournament, they've got a lot of good players, and their manager generally finds a way to turn all those silk purses into a giant sow's ear. In fact, in a sow's head, a malfunctioning kind of Frankenstein sow's head. But I think they might do pretty well.
Even without Ribery? I mean, because I take your point, and there is when you look at that first 11 anyway, it's a very strong spine in that team, but the loss of Ribery is...
Yes, and in fact, I mean, it's one of the nice things about this World Cup so far. A lot of the big players have played really well and had big impacts on the games. It doesn't always happen, but they seem to have, I think they've got enough other good players to still do well.
Now, your breakout star comes from this game. Tell us about him.
Always in a World Cup, you get someone coming through who no one's been talking about, and I believe I found that man, Luis Lopez. He's the uncapped Honduras third-choice goalkeeper.
Right,
and no one has been talking about him, to the extent where even his family do not know that he's in the World Cup.
Right,
They're just getting a bit worried that he hasn't been in touch for a while. And are hoping for a postcard.
It'd be quite remarkable, though, if he does. I mean, what would need to happen for him to suddenly be thrust into the spotlight?
Well, I guess probably he'd need to nobble the other 2 goalkeepers in a kind of escape to victory style. But he's 20 years old. He's 14 years younger than the other 2 goalkeepers. Plays for Real España, who, with him in goal, jumped from 8th to 2nd in the Honduras League, which I believe is called the Liga Honduriana. I've just made that. He's 5'11", small for a goalkeeper. But a lot of players do grow during a World Cup. So
I've heard that. I've heard that. And the final game, Argentina versus Bosnia, of course. Lionel Messi is the subject of your head-to-head.
Yeah,
Explain that.
massive head-to-head with Messi. This could be one of the defining head-to-heads of the World Cup. Messi versus the weight of expectation. And I think Bosnia are going to go man-to-man with this, going to put the weight of expectation right on Messi, getting to keep tight on Messi for the whole game. Got to put the weight of expectation just in front of the back four in those gaps that Messi likes to exploit. So I think it's going to be, because of course Messi coming off a very disappointing season. I think only 41 goals in 44 games. Shades of a young Francis Jeffers.
So the first and possibly only Franny Jeffers reference on this show. Top work. Great stuff. Andy Zaltzman will be with us throughout the tournament, of course, dropping back in. But that's all we've got time for today, pretty much. But before we go, let's take a look at our predictions league. Barry Glendenning leading the way. In that, Mary, our Brazilian school teacher, Andy, who apparently knows very little about football, but she's tied in second with some of the Guardians.
Is she the new Paul the Octopus?
I think she might just be. The Guardians' finest footballing minds trailing in her wake. Here are Barry's predictions for tonight's games, by the way. He's gone for a first draw of the tournament. I can't believe there hasn't been a draw yet. It's remarkable. A goalless one at that. Whoopie-doo, that sounds fun. And 2 3-0 wins as well. Alright then, that's just about it for today's show. Terrific stuff. Thanks very much. Andy Zaltzman, give it up, everybody. He will be back, I can guarantee it. You can leave your predictions in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Coming up tomorrow, we've got journalist Julien Laurent back in the house, and for plenty more World Cup content, you can check it out right here. Bye for now. Oh, Andy, by the way, I've got to get you to sign our desk, every guest has done. Feel free to go wherever you want. You can kind of move over here if you want to.
Why not? I'm going to go. I'm going to go central.
Makes sense. Yeah. Lovely. Oh wow, you've out Jimmy Floyd. Hasselback had the biggest sig, and you've gone bigger than Jimmy Floyd. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
Will you sign it when you come back as well?
I'd love to.
It's really small.
Yeah.
It's really small.
I'll give you my mother's maiden name and bank codes as well.